All right, everybody, welcome back to yet again another 2022-2023 season preview. Today we continue on with the Florida Panthers today. Apologies for the little hiatus there I took for the season previews. It was Labor Day here in the States, so obviously I couldn't make any videos in that regard. So obviously the only video I could make was the JT Miller video and some hockey card collections that I had pre-recorded months ago. So finally got those up, but anyways, we're back again for the season previews and some more hockey content here today with the Florida Panthers. So obviously the Panthers took a huge step up from last season, but sadly it's looking like a regression is actually coming. This year they went 58, 18, and 6 with 122 points, and they scored 340 goals and they led at 246, and they lost in round 2 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Obviously, this was a good year for Florida. They made it past the first round for the first time since they made the Cup Finals in like '96, if I'm correct. It's been a long time. And then their second time ever, and then they obviously got swept by Tampa in the second round. Your leading goal scorer was Jonathan Huberdeau with 30 goals, 85 assists for 115 points. Then you have Sergei Bobrovsky in net with a 39-7-3 record. They 2.67 goals against average. So obviously that team was dynamic offensively. They were really, really good. But they were one of the teams that had drastic changes this offseason. Look at your departures, a lot of eye-openers. Jonathan Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar, Claude Giroux, Mason Marchment, Joe Thornton, Noel Acciari, and Robert Hägg. So some players they acquired in the deadline there in Hägg and Giroux are obviously gone. A player like Marchment who really took a big step up that last season, I'm surprised he's gone. And then obviously Huberdeau and Weegar were dealt in the trade with Matthew Tkachuk. So obviously some pretty big eye-openers to their top six. Huberdeau and Giroux are gone. Marchment was the top six forwards at points there. So it definitely makes the top six a lot weaker, but I don't think they're really too worried about that. What I'm worried about is the defense, and we'll get into that in a little bit here. But anyways, looking at their acquisitions, they acquired Matthew Tkachuk, Nick Cousins, Chris Tierney, Colin White, Rudolph Balcers, Alex Lyon, and I think that's Mark Stahl there as well. But I think they signed Eric Stahl to a PTO, if I'm correct. I just don't have him mentioned. So obviously, those players are mostly just going to play bottom six roles with the team. If not that, they won't even make the NHL, really. Apart from Tkachuk will obviously play first line out of the gate. But apart from that, no really eye-opener acquisitions there, which really isn't the best thing in the world. You look at their top six here. You have Matthew Tkachuk, Alexander Barkov, and Sam Reinhart. Then you have Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Bennett, and Anthony Duclair. But they're going to miss some time with Duclair as he's going to be out with an injury, be out for probably the first 3 months of the season, is what I have been seeing. So obviously you'll probably see Patrick Hornquist move up to that second line spot. So it's definitely weaker than last year, 100%. Huberdeau and Giroux, that was the prime team. That was the team that I really thought could go all the way, and when they didn't, it was really disappointing because now I don't think this team, they're going to be a good team, but I don't think they're going to be as good as they were this past season. Definitely not. And that top six is significantly weaker, but I think it'll be fine. It's not a huge blow. I mean, it could have been worse, to be honest, but I mean, they still have some good players, and they are better long-term, I will admit that. Acquiring Matthew Tkachuk, that makes them a lot better long-term down the road, because Tkachuk's obviously younger than Huberdeau and Weegar, but it still makes things weaker. Your bottom six there, you have Nick Cousins, Anton Lundell, and Patrick Hornquist, then you have Ryan Lomberg, Colin White, and Rudolph Balcers, and for some additional players, you have Chris Tierney, Eetu Luostarinen, and Grigory Denisenko, who will get some NHL time there, so he's probably Florida's best prospect, you could argue. So obviously, a lot of players that make you go, what? And it's really going to be up to Anton Lundell to really kind of hold up that center core, because he could probably get top 6 minutes, I would bet, if he plays well enough. He could probably pass Sam Bennett for that second line center role. But obviously it is not as strong as it was last year, definitely not. But I think it'll hold. I think it'll still do fine. I think they're still solid in that end. But the defense, on the other hand, it's definitely where things get scary. You have Forsling and Ekblad as your first pairing. Then you have Carlson and Gudez as your second pairing. Then you have Mark Stahl and Sujin as your third pairing. And then you have Salgin as your extra defender. I don't even know who those players are, and the fact that they could be playing NHL time is honestly scary. This defense has gotten significantly weaker without Mackenzie with Mackenzie Weegar and guys like Robert Hägg leaving 100%. Definitely worrisome. 100%. That defense is definitely the scariest thing 100%. And obviously, I didn't mention him, but Ben Sherrod obviously left as well. He's in Detroit now. So that is scary. Their blue line is really scary. I mean, Ekblad's good. Forsling's an underrated second pairing defender. But the rest of those players are probably third pairing, if not just depth defensemen. So I am a bit worried about that defense. I will be saying that a lot. That is a question, one of our biggest questions. We'll get into that in a second here. Obviously, your goaltending team is Sergei Bobrovsky and Spencer Knight. Then your third string there is Alex Lyon. Bobrovsky, he's kind of starting to make that contract worth a lot more, but he's getting up there in age. So it is getting a little bit worrisome there with that Bobrovsky deal. And Spencer Knight, I don't know. He was looking like he was going to be a really solid goalie, but now it's kind of turning into a Carter Hart situation. So that is a little bit worrisome. And obviously, Alex Lyon won the Calder Cup with the Chicago Wolves. Really nothing to worry about there. Maybe Lyon does get some time up there with the Panthers if Knight struggles or one of them gets injured, of course. So we'll see. Moving on here to your biggest questions. Will the defense hold? I think it will. I mean, I've been talking crap about it. I know I have been. I still think it's gonna hold. I still think it's solid enough that it's gonna do okay. But I don't think it's going to shock anyone. It's not the best defense in the league. I may even argue it's the bottom 10 defense in the league. It really doesn't look that good. And then the other question is regression. Regression, that good old word. Regression basically means that they're going to regress. They're going to take a step back than they did this past year. And I think it's definitely going to happen. The losses that they took are significant, like Huberdeau and Giroux in that top six. Giroux isn't a huge deal because he wasn't with the team the entire year, so they can kind of hold out. But losing Huberdeau is significant, and then obviously losing Mackenzie Weegar on that defense is definitely a huge blow. And I mean, I don't blame Florida. Either way, they were kind of screwed. I think they would rather this over having to go through cap hell next season trying to pay Huberdeau and Weegar to these contracts. Like Huberdeau got 10.5 in Florida, and Weegar could get as high as 8. So it's looking a bit worrisome there. But I think there'll be a regression, but it's not going to be huge. They'll still make the playoffs. They're still a good team. I just don't know what they'll do in the playoffs, to be honest with you. You look at their top 5 point projectors, or your point-o-meter, or your top 5 goals, your top 5 scores, according to the fantasy guy here. It's been a little bit since I've recorded. You have Barkov leading the way with 94. Then you have Tkachuk in second with 90. Then you have Reinhart in third with 75. Then you have Ekblad in fourth with 73. And then you have Carter Verhaeghe in fifth place with 61 points. So obviously there you have some of your top players, obviously. Tkachuk definitely scoring 90. Not really surprising there. Your sleeper or your bust, that actually goes to Spencer Knight. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Given Bobrovsky's unseen performances and a looming cap crunch, the Panthers could try to move his burdensome contract, paving the way for Spencer Knight to become an unquestioned number 1 in net. So obviously, I mean, I didn't touch base on that, but Bobrovsky, there are looming rumors that he could get traded. I don't think it happens. That contract is too extreme. I think it could happen in the future when that contract has less years on it, and you see a team like, I don't know, Chicago or Philadelphia, maybe they're, or even Arizona at this point. Maybe they're a team that's trying to tank and trying to take on bad contracts for more draft picks. Arizona has been a friend of Florida's before with Anton Stroman, but I don't think. It really with this contract, it really limits down a lot of teams that could go out and get him. So I don't think that really happens. I don't think he gets traded now, but maybe in the future. But I think it definitely is a sleeper or bust season for Spencer Knight. We'll see what happens for him, obviously. Panthers Cup odds are 16-1. That is pretty up high there. It's not extremely high, but it is definitely one of the higher ones we've covered. The brass. So this is like basically the coaching. I figured that out. I've been reading this lately, and I figured out that the brass is literally just coaching. I thought it was like the wrap up of the season, but okay. Anyways, Zito enters his third season as GM of the Panthers, who have been at their best with an eye-popping 95, 32, and 11 mark in his tenure. Maurice becomes Florida's third coach since October 2021, so an adjustment can be expected. He envisions subtle changes to the team's playing style to improve its defensive performance, though not a major overhaul. And I haven't talked about Maurice, and thankfully I read the brass or else I probably would have forgotten about Paul Maurice. I don't like it. I don't like adding Maurice to that coaching staff, and I think that does definitely going to play a role in Florida's regression, 100%. So now the question is, do they make the playoffs? I think they will, without a doubt. They'll probably finish third in the division. If worse comes to worse, maybe they're a wild card spot. But I think they're still a solid top 3 team in that division. I still think they'll do well. They still have pieces to be good. They definitely did get worse 100%, but I don't think they've got worse to where they're going to miss the playoffs. I think they're still a good team overall. And nothing really changes there. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching. For all your supporters, I really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe down below if you are new. We are about 70 subscribers away from 2,000, so it would be pretty cool to reach that before the start of the season. We got about a month before we can, so maybe. We'll never know. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.